What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And once a month, you can catch me hosting online live conversations for fathers that are co-sponsored by Dad Central Canada's National Fatherhood Organization and Dove Men Care. And you know what I say, you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Fired up. It is a Saturday night, August 15th, and I am glad that I am here and looking forward to this conversation. And I'll tell you something, the two ladies, Aisha K. Staggers and Jill Jones, we were chopping it up before we went live, and I asked them, when's the last time you ladies spoke? They said about a week ago. Now, if you don't know what these ladies drop knowledge bombs about, they give their takes on what's going on in America. And for them not to talk for the last week and what's been going on in America over the last week, you better have your seatbelts on, whether you're watching this live or on the replay or listening to this on live or replay, because this is going to be fire. That's FIYAH exclamation points. So if you don't know, Aisha K. Staggers and Jill Jones come on almost every week, or at least bi-weekly, and they drop knowledge bombs about what's going on in America. And in the very new future, we're going to have them on regularly on a weekly basis. Definitely by beginning of September, they're going to be live. So we're giving an appetizer tonight for what's going to be fire in September. So as always, I want to welcome the two ladies, Aisha and Jill. What's going on, Aisha and Jill?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, how we going? How we doing?
Good. Hanging in there.
Okay, it's hot everywhere.
Yes.
It's hot in California where Jill is. It's over 100 degrees. It's hot in Connecticut where Aisha is. And Aisha, I know it's a little bit of a sad day for Aisha because her girl has gone off to college. So
yeah, but
you'll be okay. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
She's happy, so
we can blame Trump for not, allowing mothers to have those moments and this time, because he's just fucked us all up.
You didn't even let me get started. You're placing already.
I know.
I wake up cursing him. Bad cursing him. It's terrible.
All right, ladies. We just to tell people who are watching this live or watching the replay or listen to the replay, we usually pull out some conversation points. If we get through even 3 tonight, this is going to be a miracle, because just the first one on its own, it may take up the whole conversation piece. So ladies, Kamala is it.
Yeah.
Kamala.
Aisha, you said she was going to be it. I remember I wasn't feeling it, but I think you're right. She's the person for the job.
So,
yeah.
So Aisha and Jill, were you surprised, or do you feel that, first of all, that there should have been anyone else, a better pick at this time?
No, I said from day one that she was going to be the pick. And so I'm not surprised. She's ready, and she's a good fit. She is, his Barack Obama if they'd switch places. She's smart. She represents she basically represents what this country is starting to look like. And she's going to appeal to a lot of people. My other thing too is that, this deals are made beforehand. I have a feeling that, she was the pick the moment that Jim Clyburn said to him, okay, I'm going to bring you the South. I'll get you the South. And once you get the South, you'll get a running start to keep going. And so that's what I think, probably happened, because she dropped out so early before they even started primary voting. And that kind of shocked me. But then you saw her and Joe kind of taking pictures together. And the other thing that got to me, that made me think that, okay, this is something, was shortly after she dropped out, she did a fundraiser for Joe. And that fundraiser, Joe paid off some of her campaign debts. And I remembered that after Joe Biden dropped out in 2008, that Barack Obama had a fundraiser with him right after and paid off some of his campaign debts. And so one of the things that, you kind of want to do for the person you want to be VP is to make sure that they have no debts. So that kind of, to me, had me thinking, okay, this is the direction he's leaning in. And I think he knew all along. I just think that he had us waiting.
Okay.
I think it
That's
was
all
great
right.
that he sort of waited so long to release this information, because it really gave us an indication of how Republicans were going to attack each and every single candidate that he could have selected from. They gave away the cards in their hand. Basically, we knew they were going to go after Karen Bass, who knew for Scientology, cutting at a opening of a building, and for building houses in Cuba when she was 17. So then who could tell? Then Elizabeth Warren, we got to see that she might have been a little too salty and took a little bit. She had some salty issues that came through, and about even sort of giving it up to him when Andrew Yang, Buttigieg, and everybody else had. It was kind of strange, and got to see just something about her character that she wasn't fit for it. So yeah, with every person that they were trying to vet, and then Amy Klobuchar, remember, she's the one who said she thought it should be a woman of color. So also, it was good to see where the climate of the country was headed. I mean, because it just changes so fast. And I mean, the best they could come up with was birtherism. I mean, we knew they were going to play that.
We saw this movie before.
Yeah, we have. And I think we've got the whole archive that they're pulling out. I mean, it's ridiculous, because there's a few presidents, I think, Andrew Jackson, both of his parents were immigrants from Ireland. So John McCain was born in Panama and not on the base. They like to be like, oh, he was on the base. No, John McCain was born in an actual hospital in Panama City proper. So I don't know what they were trying to play at, but it was ridiculous. And anybody who keeps falling for this stuff, I don't know how people can support these people every day. You've got Matt Getz, is that his name? I don't even really know, who just endorsed that one from Georgia, the kooky Q lady, who's a Q anonymous. So they just really want to be playing in the toilet. So come on, we're ready to flush the turd November 3rd. Remember that.
Yeah.
I like that. So let me ask, ladies, was there any other consideration, even remotely?
I don't think so, because look, the fact that they said they had it down to Susan Rice or Kamala was ridiculous to me, because Susan Rice, Benghazi all day. That's all we would have heard. That was just the most ridiculous thing. She had too much baggage from the Obama administration to come with. It's like, you think they gave Hillary a hard time about Benghazi.
Right.
Joe would have, that would have been it all day. So I don't think that there was anything. I think the whole Gretchen Whitmire thing was a red herring for the media. I think that was a red herring for the media, and that the meeting with her was probably about a cabinet position, not anything else.
Right. I think you're right.
Because that really got people thinking, oh, it's going to be her because she was the last, interview that they heard about. But I got to applaud his staff. No leaks.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
It was crazy. You're right.
Insane. No leaks whatsoever. And so you had everybody else speculating. And I think that
Abrams, remember, everybody, Demings.
Yeah. I mean, even went so far as to like Val Demings would have been good, but the other part of it too would have been the fact that she would have been a police officer, police chief.
Yeah.
That would have been something else, because they've thrown out this stuff with Kamala about being a cop, and all the Black people who are on Twitter saying, oh, Kamala is a cop. They don't realize that whole bug in their ear started with Russian bots, and they're just repeating it over and over again. And so, that's like, it's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, and they're not really entirely fair about her record
Right.
in it as a prosecutor. I mean, do people know what a prosecutor does? I
Right.
mean, it's like, and actually her predecessor had the highest record of incarceration rate. So let's just be honest. I mean, they don't mention that she had a program that a lot of the people who had low offenders, or could participate in some of her programs that she uh, brought into the scene, where they could get certain things expunged from the records. So they don't like to talk about that. There were options for people, and they want to always change the fact that in historically, weed wasn't legal here. It wasn't for a while. So get over yourselves. I mean, there were there were laws, right? So that was the law. She was just doing her job. And I don't care if your, relatives got locked up, but I'm not taking a stance until I know everybody's case. I have family members who are attorneys, and sometimes if you can't get someone on the actual murder charge, then they
You go
find
through other
another
charges.
charge. You find like, okay, we had this. It's like, that's what it is. So with every single person, there's an individual matter that was needed, that before you speak about it, we need to see them all then, I guess, and to really review these people who
Right.
were, she wasn't like LAPD, and she
Right.
wasn't like Chicago PD or the police in America,
Right.
So Jill, let me ask. Aisha was a supporter from long time. You weren't.
No.
What has made you a supporter now compared to a few months ago?
I think I was just so hell bent on Andrew Yang and pushing that forward that I think I had a bias. I think I was biased. I think I wanted to see her in not the light as I should have. And I think as a woman, or as women, I think I had to have my own personal come to Jesus moment about who she was, a reflection even for myself after getting to know certain things and reading and uh, personal policy things. I put myself in her shoes. I said, yeah, I probably would have pulled that stunt with Joe Biden and said, you know what, that was me, Joe. So sometimes we don't like people because they remind us of ourselves on a little crazy level. The being of mixed race, those kind of things, I think I just had a bias to push more for the artificial intelligence guy, um, and go down that road. But yeah, I think I was wrong. I had good intentions, but I definitely did not realize what, from that moment to after George Floyd and all the things that came right on the heels of, she's the best person for it, because the attacks are almost spiritual attacks on her. And if
Mhm.
there's anybody who was going to take that job, that's what it was going to be from the Republicans, spiritual attacks. And she's the one who can actually stand up to it. That she's proven it, either she or an Ocasio-Cortez. Those are like the two women that I can see holding their own and holding it down.
Yeah.
So both of you are supporters. What are the thoughts of the progressives? Because I know, Jill, you are a fan of Bernie,
Yes.
and you may be able to speak to this. And also, for people who don't know, Aisha has a long, good history in politics
Mhm.
herself. Are you concerned about the progressives supporting that ticket?
No. And I'll tell you why. Um, because what other option do they have? I mean, they have the option of not voting Green Party, but they also are, progressives are also smart. They also know that going Green Party and not voting or not showing up is how we ended up where we are. They don't want to end up where we are. What they do want, perhaps, is to have more influence over the policies that administration would have. And there's no way that they can do that by not getting them in there. They have substantially less, actually no influence over a Trump administration and the policies there. At least they could push Joe and Kamala further left than they could Trump ever. So I don't think that the progressives will be the bigger problem. I think the bigger problem is Trump having Republicans show up.
True.
Jill?
I think that I agree with Aisha on many points about that. I think that the progressives realize it's true that they have to, this isn't a one ditch vote, and I hope that people realize that we are now in such a way that we have to address the fact that you don't vote, go home, and everything's fine like we did maybe with Obama going into policy and going into office. This is vigilance. This will be micromanagement. This is like, you have to stay involved in your government. And number one should be, many people need to learn what the history of this country is. Otherwise, we keep falling under the spell of foreign imposters and whatnot. I think that no matter who is in there, I love the fact that Kamala had a whole different viewpoint on healthcare, and so does Joe. I do feel that there will be some kind of, where they come together and figure out like, hey, this might work, or just to put him up to speed about certain things that he may not be aware of. I think that that's what's so important. I think the progressives need to stop acting like children sometimes if they don't get their way, and showing out, because it doesn't serve us anything. I said, like, we have our family issues should stay internal during this phase. Whatever family issues you have with Kamala or whoever, or keep it on the low, find a way to vet that, but don't do it in public right now, because everything that we do is going to be thrown right back at us. We got to be like Teflon our own damn selves. I mean, we got to be hard, and we got to stand there, because there's just no other way to get through it. And to get all caught up with the BS, I don't care. Like I said, I'd vote for a pencil if he picked one. This is how dire this is. And it's grim. It's grim because we have to stand firm. It's like that game you used to play, Red Rover, Red Rover. We got to be that. We got to be Red Rovering it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But the other thing too is that progressives are not going to be inspired to vote for someone like the rest of us. Like there are people who are going to vote for Joe Biden because they like Joe Biden. There are people who are going to vote for Joe Biden because they like Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. Then there are going to be those who are voting not for Joe Biden. They're voting against Donald Trump.
Yes.
So that's where you have the Lincoln Project people and all of those. They're voting in opposition to the current administration. And that's what you're gonna see is that's gonna be a lot of progressive people. Mm-hmm. They're not necessarily voting for Joe Biden, they're voting against the current administration.
And we gotta vote all of them out. If you see Republican, just
and not only that too, because remember, it's not just a general election. We also have all those down ballot races in the House, and then there are quite a few Senate seats up for grabs too. Like Lindsey Graham's seat is really in danger.
Yeah,
Lindsey Graham is really in trouble, and it should be. And it should be. And this could be the first.
Like he's at a musical chairs event. I want him to be left with no chair and on the ground. Whoop.
Right. And you know what that could mean for South Carolina is that they would have 2 Black senators.
Awesome. 1
Republican, 1 Democrat.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Cynthia Nance is saying we will take those votes. Mm-hmm. So she's on fire. Let me ask in regards to this, what should Kamala be careful with, if anything? Because there were reports saying that some of the Democratic higher ups thought she was too ambitious.
You know what? Chris Dodd needs to go sit down in his house in Connecticut and just stay there and be permanently quiet. Chris Dodd has his own issues. Yeah. Remember, he did not exactly leave on happy terms. No. Okay. No. Chris Dodd is about as bitter as Joe Lieberman, yet the other disgraced senator from Connecticut. Right. That thankfully we have Blumenthal and Murphy now. Nobody's trying to hear from Chris Dodd. Yeah. Chris Dodd's the one that called her ambitious. He needs to go sit down. It's like calling women ambitious. It's like saying, what is she supposed to be? Like mediocre? We've seen what mediocre looks like in the White House. We see it every day. That's not even mediocrity. That's like less than, okay? We've seen stupid in the White House every day. So the fact that you have this this Black woman who's also Southeast Asian and she's brilliant and she's an HBCU grad, she's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, she's got all of these 20 plus years of experience here, ambitious. You don't get to be a Black woman in the Senate and not be ambitious. Right. Ambition is what drove her to be in the Senate. What they were trying to do is put up a glass ceiling. And I have beef with Chris Dodd about that.
You're absolutely right, because those are always the key words, It's like I was talking to a cousin of mine today, and she's very outspoken. Well, she said, people I think are afraid of me. And she's an African-American woman. And she said, oh, I'm the mean Black woman. I'm the angry Black woman. And, we were discussing it, and it's just because when you speak out, when you go for what you want, I keep telling people, go speak out for what you want. That's number one for any goal. What do you want? So many people amble along in life, not really stating, what do you want? That applies across the board for marriage, work, career, all of it. What do you want? And what are your intentions? You have to be a little bit ambitious, and it's not a dirty word. But then with the Republicans and those old gray men, we have a situation where, they've damn near started portraying the suburban women as like close to being Stepford women. I mean, really at the heels of their husband. I know many people in the suburbs, and I know many ambitious women there. And they got it all wrong. This is not 1955. And, girlfriends are sitting there drinking their martinis and popping a couple of Black beauties. Those days are not happening. So I don't know what pretend game they're playing. But when Chris Dodd says that about Kamala and being ambitious, I respect her for what she's done. I just don't think it's a man's place to try to intellectualize anyone's Blackness or their ambition. It's like, who the hell are you? Step off.
Because what that ended up feeding into was that it had some Republican people saying, oh, well, why doesn't she have any kids of her own? And it's
maybe
like,
she couldn't have any kids.
Exactly. It's like, we don't know. Maybe she could, but that's her business. It was her choice. It's her body. It's like, she has her stepkids. She's like, those are her children.
And having a child does not make you, biologically, it makes you a mother. Yeah. But it doesn't make you understand how to mother. There's a big difference, or how to father. You don't biologically have to be anything. A cat can have babies. The whole point is you are, the fact that the kids call her Mamala said a lot to me. A lot. Yeah. That said everything.
What does Kamala's pick mean for Black women? If it does mean something for Black
women. It means we're being seen. Mm-hmm. It means that, it's like, I think we have a voice here. And so now all these things that we've been talking to into the wind, we have someone there who can actually verbalize them on like the highest platform and say, this is what we go through. This is what we suffer through. This is our pain. These are our joys and our triumphs. And these are our experiences. And now they're not just hidden and in like a corner in the darkness. This is mainstream. We are mainstream America now. We're not just, something that's a part of something. We are as mainstream as white women, and we matter, and we matter just as much. And the other thing too is that it also symbolizes that we we've come a long way, but it makes white feminists have to realize that they can't just do feminism the way they've been doing it all along. They've got to make it intersectional. They've got to pay more attention.
Jill?
I agree with everything Aisha has said, but on another sidebar here, how sad is it? We're in 2020, and this is where we are discussing. Every woman should be, I don't care what race they are, should be rejoicing that America has really gotten into this level where we have a woman actually who could take this position. I know we had Hillary Clinton, but there was a big disconnect. I think that there is something very sad about the fact that America, which was supposed to be the leader of the free world, just came around to acknowledging women. And at the same time, we still see the disparaging comments, the things about successful women having sex to climb up to the ladder. Oh, look what she did with what's his face, Willie, whatever. I actually said to somebody the other day, I was like, maybe she just wanted to have sex with somebody.
That was me.
Is it? I was like, so what? Maybe. And I got thrown off of Facebook for saying this. I said, maybe the D was good. She just went, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like, because I said, I heard Willie was pretty good actually, but that's not the whole point. Men have collected women and odd drops and assorted little things all along with their little trophy wives. And don't forget, we have a president who has a wife who it's very, very suspicious about her background. So don't even.
Whose naked pictures are all over the internet.
Exactly. And trying to play as a model. And I can't find one damn campaign, which models do. Successful models have campaigns with ad companies. I didn't even see a campaign for condoms. Okay. So I don't know what kind of modeling. That's just anybody can do that. Sit around taking pictures and call yourself a model. You have a portfolio that's of no use whatsoever. Right. So my whole point is we have to rally behind her as women, because there's so much good that many women can do together. And that's all races of women, because the men are against us, hands right. down, bottom line. Get that through your heads. The men in these government positions, a lot of them on the Republican side, do not want us there.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that was like the most important thing that Joe said when he announced her as his running mate, when he did when they did their speeches, was he said, we have to protect her.
Yeah.
When he said that we have to protect her because they are going to come at her with everything they've got and we have to protect her. I think that really said a lot, because usually it's the vice president that's like, we have to protect the presidential candidate. Right. And no, it's like, we have to insulate her because they're going to come after her. Because what more are they going to come after Joe for? I mean, Trump got impeached going after Joe. So right. we know how far he would go to go after, after Kamala. He'll go as far as it takes to get impeached. He's like already been impeached once,
Right.
So
it was either one or the other, the birther thing, or they were going to call her a man. I mean, what else? That's just who they are, and they
Speak,
all need to be checking themselves.
Speaking of which, what did you think about the whole him bringing your 45 bringing up the birther stuff again?
Well, that's what was so ridiculous. It was like, really? It's like you went back to what? To 2011 stuff? It's like, really? You're going to do this? And then at the same token, he's so dumb because his mother is born in Scotland.
Yeah.
And then when someone asks him offhand, he keeps saying his father was born in Germany. But it was his grandfather. It's like,
but maybe Fred was really his brother.
It's like, dude, you don't know where your
father. You know what I mean? Like maybe the old dude was his real dad.
I just don't.
Oh no, that was the grandfather who died from Spanish flu. I'm sorry, I forgot. Yeah, that's right. 1918, he died.
You don't know where your father was born, and if that's the case, but here's the thing.
Well, actually, that's sorry to interrupt, but remember, they got thrown out of Germany in 1905. Trump's father allegedly was born in New York in October. They've said they took a ship in June in 1905. So old girl was pregnant on that trip, or they had a baby. Someone needs to find those records. I'd like to see when they check back into Ellis Island. I would love to see who was there, where was Fred, because they paid people to present stuff. Trump needs to have his family turn over when your grandfather was kicked and deported, not just kicked, deported because he would not serve in the military. He had already run off, come to America, then came back, thought he was going to live high on the hog. And the Germans were like, Mr. Trump, because that's what his real name is, sent them back, deported them out of Bavaria. Bye, see you later. But it's interesting. It's noted that they left on a ship in June. I've tried to find the ship. I've tried to see it. Can't find anything. But then all of a sudden, Fred Trump was born up in the Bronx. The Bronx, you could pay somebody else off to put some old fake certificate.
Well, here's the interesting part. There. We knew Barack Obama's mother was a citizen born in Kansas, had Barack in Hawaii, right? Born in Kansas. And his father was born in Kenya. So how is that any different than Trump's mother being born in Scotland and his father being born in the United States? It's like, when he did, I'm like, wait a second. Yeah. But how does that make you a citizen? How are you a citizen and he's not? Because
no, they play games, and then it's really, that's just what they do. And unfortunately, most of their followers, I used to think, oh, they're just too dumb. They're willfully ignorant, and they are willfully pushing the agenda of the lies. So they're no better than us.
But they also released, and I did see it because someone got a copy of it. They, by accident, yet again, the campaign sent out their notes to some media people of their talking points on Kamala, and it's yep, and they're like, the birther thing. Kamala is a cop, and just all the typical talking points. They have nothing new on her, so she's not. She's pretty much going to be insulated because everything that they have that they're going to say is what they were saying during the primary time. So it's not like it's stuff we haven't heard already.
Right. And a lot of the bots that are out there pretending to be African American or Black saying, yeah, she put me in prison or whatever. Yeah. Those aren't real people. A lot of them aren't real people. And it's really, because from the numbers that I saw, there were 1,900 cases, particularly around the whole marijuana debacle. And really, only 45 people actually served time in jail. And you have to remember, this was during the time of there were 3 strikes, there were different things going on, but also they were serious offenders, these 45. Now, the rest of that 1,900 exclusives of that, saw their whole, cases reduced and expunged basically over the next, as different legislation started to come in, it changed. I mean, there was a time when Coca-Cola had real cocaine in it. So, I mean, let's just be honest. How far back are we going to do this history and equate it to what we're living in today when laws weren't even in place back, 10 years ago or so?
I'm gonna jump in here just to catch up. We have comments here. Moringa from Ottawa says, in Fat Joe's live with Tiffany Haddish, Tiff said she was hoping Biden would choose Karen Bass or even Stacey Abrams. And then she also says, she says back to birtherism, SMH.
Yeah, it's true.
So
I don't think Stacey Abrams would have been the right choice. I don't think Stacey Abrams would have been the right choice because I don't think that she had the experience to be ready on day one. And I say this, yes, she was a state senator in Georgia, and I think that she could have moved up the ranks. I think she was definitely much more poised to be a governor and maybe in the U.S. Senate.
Yes.
First.
But we also need her in places like Georgia to be key places. It's like once you start removing certain people from their posts, so to speak, this is all a lot of teamwork here that we're all saying, okay, all of these women were so qualified. All of them were pretty amazing. Some were young. Stacey showed her integrity and strength early on. But that fight to bust up what's going on down in Georgia, yeah, she needs the help. And she also needs us to keep pushing through, because you have counties in Georgia like Forsyth County. Child, don't get a broken, don't let your car break down in Forsyth and other places. Just drive on the wheels on the rim. If you got a flat, just drive. Keep driving. Keep
Sounds
going.
like you've had an experience.
Oh, I know some friends. In fact, I got a license plate from Forsyth years ago, and kept it in my old loft in New York because it was just a reminder of how jacked up that little stinking town is, know. And I hear it hasn't gotten much better.
Once you leave Atlanta, you're in Georgia.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Life when Trump talks about the suburbs, he's talking about Buckhead. He's talking to them. But we got a lot of our people out in Buckhead too. So I'm kind of like, wait a minute.
Mountain.
Yeah, exactly. Like they really, we're talking about a president who is changing some laws, even in redistricting and creating different segments for property and all of this. This just can't go on. Just for speaking with real estate brokers and the redlining and the broker with banks. There's so many reasons he just doesn't need to be there. Like I mentioned, my cousin, she works with a judge. But when her judge can no longer serve after the age of 70, she can't run anymore in Ohio. You can't. But this is Democrat, and who's going to come in? Republicans. It's so very important to bust that up, because they are really they've taken this country down. It's just a skid mark in the rainstorm.
One more thing I'm going to ask, or one or two more things maximum, and we'll move on to something else. And actually, I'm going to bring up something that wasn't part of our agenda beforehand, but I think we need to chat about. But first, I want to ask, if Biden gets elected, what are the odds of Kamala being president during those 8 years?
They're great.
They're very high.
Very high.
Okay.
I think that the other reason too why he picked her was that Joe said he wasn't sure if he was going to run for a second term.
Right.
I think he picked the person that he could stand by to go to that he could endorse to be president after 4 years.
It's true. It's really, not to take on that whole crazy Jeanine Pirro trying to conjure up something by her cauldron about Joe's, well-being. these dudes, both of them are old. Let's just
Yeah.
be really honest, straight up. They're old. And, and I'm not saying that, God forbid anything happened to Biden at this point, but things do happen in life, and that's the way it is. But we got to persevere through the storm. It's like right now you're on a boat and you got somebody at the command, and you got to just keep going, and you take it as one day at a time as it comes. It's the only way.
So obviously we've got debates coming up. I'm not concerned about, well, I'm just saying, I don't think the Democrats should be concerned about Kamala.
Yeah.
But my concern, if I'm a Democrat, is how is Biden going to hang with 45?
You mean when they do the debates? Oh yeah. I think that he'll do fine, because here, what you're going to end up with is two old grandpas just going back and forth. You got to remember, Biden actually is a good debater. When you go back, when he's comfortable in the position that he's
Right.
in, when he's having to run against other people, it's tenuous. But remember his debates with Paul Ryan. He slammed the hell out of Paul Ryan.
He did.
I mean, he made Paul Ryan look like a little schoolboy. He sat Paul Ryan on his lap and spanked him. So
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about his debates with Donald Trump. I expect Donald Trump to come out of his mouth to say everything foul that he can.
Right.
And I expect Joe to come, and
with
say,
a quirky self, with those old sayings, malarkey, and all of it. And you know
exactly.
what?
And here's the thing: if Joe gaffes during a debate with Donald Trump, it's not going to be as bad as anything that Donald Trump's going to say on his own volition.
I'd rather a faux pas than a lie. I mean,
Exactly.
I got to tell you,
Gosh. Yes. Well, which we got to, I was thinking about dropping this. Did either of you see the reporter from, okay, Aisha knows where I'm going with this.
The reporter.
Yes. So during one of the press conferences this week and the reporter asked, "Mr. President, how would you respond to all the lies you told?"
And he was
like, huh? No, the lies you told.
He leaned in too, which killed me.
I just said that was priceless.
And he's like, you lie. Your lies.
So if you are the Biden campaign, I would make sure you put that in your campaign ads.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's so funny too, is that like he said with Paul Ryan, that's a bunch of malarkey. He's gonna dig out all his old hits.
Yeah.
Every time Trump lies, he can just pull out, and remember and remind people of Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
Final thing before we move on, and we're not going to get through everything tonight. I know that already. How much is Barack Obama involved in all of this?
I think a lot.
Yeah.
When you consider it, it's always the last president who was who's the de facto lead of the party, head of the party. Barack Obama, I think he's a reluctant lead of the party. I think because everybody looks to him. He wants to have life after the presidency. He's trying so hard to. He really is.
Right.
But he wields so much power, and I think he's very smart to really the way that he handles his power and the way that he wields it. He's not frivolous with it the way Trump is, and he uses it for good, one, but then he also is very selective about when he decides to speak, when he decides to come out in public.
He's respectful.
He does. He is. He makes sure that he makes an impact when he does speak. And so I think that when he speaks this week, coming up on the convention, I think that he will really make a serious impact. People will really be mobilized to want to go out and vote.
Okay.
I think that one really beautiful thing, though, is that he gets so much love every day online. I mean, I can't pass anybody who isn't like, I miss you.
Yeah.
Where are you? Boy, what happened to us? And, I really respect him for not abandoning us in a really weird
Yeah.
way. Hell, even George W. has stepped up and been like, yeah, God dong it. We gotta but I really feel like President Obama really knows that he can't ditch us. He can't leave us and throw us to the curb, because there really is a tremendous amount of love online every day for that man and what he's done. And even he's not perfect, but he was the steady in the storm. And so is Joe. He's going to be steady in the storm. We are in a this is beyond, we got a hurricane, tornado, earthquake, all of us happening at the same time. Who do you want to guide you through? And a pandemic. You want Trump to help you with that shit again? Hell no.
No.
Okay, so this was not on our topics to chat about tonight, but we got to talk about it. What's going on with the relief, like the money from the Senate? What is going on with that? Like, can't.
Oh. They don't want to do. They don't want. Here's the bottom line. They didn't want to do another package anyway. They just didn't want to. They believed that if they did the little $1,200 per adult, that would tide people over until the economy got back on its feet. They believed when Trump said by June, the economy would be up and running. But you got to also remember that these Republicans believed him when he said that he had it under control. They believed him when he said that he was going to do the testing and do all the things that would make this pandemic go away. And he didn't do any of the things. He just stalled for time. And so, they don't want to do this package because the bottom line is that when it comes down to it, they're all okay financially. They do what they always do, is that they turn a blind eye to what's really going on. And people are food insecure. All these people don't have jobs. And what they look at is like, well, the jobs market says we created X new jobs in this quarter. So how, it's not that these people can't find jobs. These people are lazy. They're not trying to work. They're making more on unemployment. And the problem is that you're not creating new jobs. It's that people who are laid off are being called back to work. And so those clock in as new jobs. And it is just, they don't want a deal, because if they wanted a deal, when the Democrats made a compromise to come down by $1 trillion, they would have made the deal. They don't have a strategy. They don't have a political strategy for Donald Trump to win on, because everything that he's throwing at the wall is not sticking. So the only thing that they have is what they had during the midterms. If you recall, during 2018 was the shutdown, and they wanted the Dems to own the shutdown.
Right.
And that was what they thought was going to help them get a victory in 2018. Well, we're at that point now. They're looking for something that's going to help them in November. And they're hoping that not doing this stimulus package, knowing that people need it, is what's going to get them there in November.
Aisha, that makes no political sense.
But here's what I think they're doing.
It makes no sense at all, but it works for them.
I think that if they see, the other side of this is working to their advantage. If you have people dumped and evicted and out on the streets, and you're messing with the post office, then you're also messing with where they're voting from. Some people will have to relocate to other states. They will change. They won't be able to register in time for the election. So I think what he saw, and he's going to breadcrumb everybody, because that's what he does. I keep telling you all about that tarot card that's breadcrumbing. Trump is the master breadcrumber, because basically if they can pinpoint who they think in certain regions and in the electorate that they can shift from living in certain homes, and if they're not registered or they won't be able to drive back to Kansas when they're living in Oklahoma now to go and vote, but they're too late to register in another state. I got to tell you, I don't think people are looking at that bigger picture. That's why it's okay for him to see people thrown out on the streets and hungry and all of that. And
Yeah.
to take post boxes away. I told Dr. Vibe when we first started, I said, if they keep taking the post boxes, I mean, the next step for us is to chain ourselves to the post boxes. There's just the only, it's like it's getting to that point that, you know, that you just can't trust what's happening. But he does want to not give people the money, because let's not forget, he used the post office. Remember, we all had to get a paper check to see his signature. We had to see his crazy psycho signature. Okay. Yeah. So what now? And then he's saying, I'm ready to send these things out. Girl, you ain't ready. You playing. He's playing breadcrumbing. I do not buy that.
It's like today he says that the that mail-in votes aren't good, but absentee votes, like the absentee ballots like they have in Florida, are okay. Now let me tell you, what if all those places that do the mail-in voting, which isn't any different than the absentee ballots, but what if they just all said, okay, then we're going to move to full absentee ballots for everybody? He would then have an issue with that. The problem of the matter is that he knows that more people will vote if they have the mail-in option, because it makes it easier to vote. And if more people can vote, and if it's easier for them to vote, they're not necessarily going to vote for him.
Right.
And that's the bottom line of it. And them holding up the second stimulus package, part of that reason that they're doing that, Dr. Vibe, too, is because he needs to be the one to come out and say, through executive orders and through my talks with Mitch McConnell, we're going to be able to do this for the American people. The Democrats don't want to do this. I want to do this. He can't. And see, he's tied, because he said when he came out with all those executive orders, there's no meat behind it, because he can't do anything that requires money.
Right.
Because that is in the Constitution, says that the House of Representatives controls the purse. So all he could do was that he could commission a research study into seeing whether or not they could cancel evictions. You know, that's what he did. He did a study into seeing if families could get $300, not giving them the 300, seeing if they could get them the 300. Well, guess what? The Democrats were willing to come down $1 trillion in some areas where Republicans wanted cuts.
Right.
As long as they kept the unemployment at 400.
Right.
The addition. But that shows you that Republicans don't want to work with people, because they wouldn't even take their cuts, because their position was like, well, we can do 600, we can do the we'll come down to 400 in the cuts. And when Democrats were like, okay, fine, we'll meet you there, then it was like, no, we don't want that.
Am I the only one who thought that even 600 was too low for people to live on? I mean, I was never happy with 6. So why would I be happy with 4? All I saw was a bunch of stingy old gray men, trying to just take us out. Ain't nobody going to be able to.
$176,000 a year.
No, because a lot of the what he did was, by letting it lapse, is that in certain states, people had a month from the time that the stimulus ran out to pay back all rent that they owed from March or whatever they were in arrears for. So what good is that? So I'm sorry, they can talk all they want. They've done nothing for the American people. And you don't have health insurance. And, if you went on Medicaid, good luck having them call you. They haven't set people up. I'm telling you, I know this. People are out of work. They lost their health insurance, and they're trying to go through the state. The state is overwhelmed signing up people for healthcare, and people are going through their ACA and whatever. And that's another one. I'm sorry. They are useless. If people are failing at a job, you fire them. You just fire them. What I think I saw an episode on The Apprentice about it.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that you got to remember he's
not winning. He didn't win this game. This round.
That's the other thing that happened this week too. Remember, a couple of days ago, it came out that Ken Cuccinelli, the whole thing with him not being qualified for the job. It's like Donald Trump has a whole bunch of people in positions that they're not qualified for, and he has them in interim positions because they don't have to be cleared by the Senate. They don't have to be confirmed.
No, and I also think that people need to start anticipating certain changes that are going to happen, even just basically based upon climate issues and migration patterns of people, animals, our crops, pestilence, more of this. Who do you want leading you through it? He's proven that he's incapable of even handling a virus. This person has killed almost 200,000 people. And it's just the same to me as if he went out and slit everybody's throats in the night. There's no difference to me. And if this was President Obama, those folks would have had pitchforks. They would have had hoods. They would have jumped out of the box.
They did, and only 2 people died from Ebola.
Yeah, but their double standards about Benghazi, about this, I could just punch them all in the freaking mouth. I mean, really, anyone who is a Republican and wants to step to me like that, no way. You're a joke, joke and a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Well, you talked about it a few moments ago, but I want to come back and maybe go a little bit deeper on it. The United States Postal Service. What is going on with this?
It's all about suppressing the vote.
45 said, he even said it in an interview, what he wants to do and why he wants to do it. He basically said, I got to do it so I can help myself win.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat.
Yeah.
Because I'm a cheater.
Yeah. And this is the person that did not get impeached. I'm sorry, did not get removed after he was
he is impeached, and he'll always be a dirtbag.
He did not get removed after he was impeached. And the problem with this is that Republicans have no issue with it. Notice that none of them has said anything like, Susan Collins isn't even concerned. Usually she's just concerned, she wasn't even concerned about this.
Oh no, she wrote a letter. She wrote a letter to DeJoy. And I remember on Twitter, I said, did you mail the letter?
Right.
I mean, are you kidding me? These people are ridiculous. I don't have more than like a second for them.
This is like we here in Canada, like I said before, there's a reason why I think our prime minister, and he's far from perfect, but I think he's smart keeping that border closed.
Yeah.
like
Dr. Vibe, I saw a few of your Canadian citizens saying, please keep our borders closed. We don't want these people here. Although I do like American people, but we do not want them here. I've seen that. It's been kind of, and I don't blame them. I was like, okay, I wouldn't want them either.
Your government cannot agree on giving people money who are unemployed and can't
put food on the table.
Can't put
for
food
their
on the table.
They won't even be able to take them to school when they open it. Let's just be really honest. How the hell are they going to get there? They don't have any money to pay for transportation. You kidding me? I mean, just the basics.
Most of the states don't have any money, but you 45 is saying let them do it. It's not looking pretty, ladies. It's not looking pretty.
Well, the thing about the post office that is so wrong and what's so bad about him stepping in the middle of it is that it's required by the Constitution.
Yeah, but he doesn't know the Constitution. No. He doesn't care. He uses our Constitution like toilet paper.
He knows his Constitution.
Yeah, but his Constitution is to poop all over everything and use the paper as to wipe himself on. I'm sorry. He has disrespected us highly. He is not the man to take us forward into the future. There have been people dying and they didn't even get to see their loved ones. I mean,
and his thing is, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yes, that quote too. It is what it is.
Wait, but he got to go and see his dying brother right now. Are you kidding me? Oh, he got to go see Robert. Yeah, because his brother's dying.
Galen Bingham is saying 45 doesn't even feel the need to lie anymore. Just think if he gets a second term?
And just say it. Why lie?
Yeah,
He's like, now
it's
I'm
really
just gonna
true.
look. Now I'm just
You're
gonna speak
right.
the truth. After that guy called him out on lying, he's like, why lie anymore? I'm just gonna spit the truth.
Right. Yeah. But
No, that report is questioned.
but they should all be coming for him every day. Every
That's
single
the
day.
other
I
thing
saw
that's very
someone made a comment
disappointing.
that the other reporter who followed up with him
Should have
should
asked.
have, had his back
Yeah.
because, but you got everybody trying to get on board and get whatever, they can get up there, that McNimany or McNinny, whatever her name is,
Acne.
Yeah.
Ninny. She's a ninny. McNinny.
Yeah.
I
That's
ain't even
what's
gonna wrap
disappointing
my
too.
tongue around all those extra syllables there.
Well, that's
McNinny.
what's disappointing too, is that the media hasn't really done a deep dive, and then you get somebody like Jonathan Swan, who like just challenges him on basic stuff, and
Right.
all of a sudden everybody's like, oh my God, it's like he's like a brilliant reporter. No, he just did his job.
Right.
Which was to ask questions and to tell him, no, you're wrong about this.
No,
Like when he asked him about the statistics, and Trump's like, you can't do that. He's like, huh? What do you mean?
but I mean, you got to understand, I'm sitting here today, we were talking to family in Germany, and everybody's life is, they're doing things. They're out, they're having get-togethers, family, they're doing whatever they have to do at some, with the offices have made changes, but not here. It's like, frustrating. I talked to my girlfriend from France. People are doing their stuff. They're getting better. They care about each other. Even if you don't love everybody, you should just maybe care for their well-being. I mean, you got to sit back and look at the fabric of this country. And right now, the American flag is, I think it has more holes in it than some old person's tattered underwear. It's just as if, it's like these people want to talk about faith. And if you don't believe the blood of Jesus is on you with COVID and not wearing a mask, but they're the same people who show up taking guns to the supermarket or going out and shooting people when they're shopping. Where's the faith? See, they don't know their heads from their behinds. It's like constantly in a whirlpool. And I'm going to say one other thing. That shampoo and hair stuff that Trump talks about showers and stuff. And I think it's some kind of code message for Russia, because they said they have a vaccine. And I wouldn't be surprised if Trump gives them a bunch of $1 million that he buys their vaccine. What you want to bet?
He said something about getting 100 million doses.
Thank you. Of course, they're going to get money. They've been like, when they dropped off their useless ventilators and all that crap they gave to us, that was from like the 1920s. I think the ventilators were like, who, you're like that. They were useless. All the doctors, when Russia lent in to help us, everybody was like, they gave them gas masks, which were like outdated, not, moth-eaten. I mean, and we paid them what, 600 how many millions of dollars for that? We did. And this is the game. This is the game. Now he's going to like try to inject people with that bullshit. No.
Well, where'd you think he got the hydrochloroquine from?
Exactly.
That he's been trying to push off. That he's been trying to push off as a miracle cure.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely, this is just the way, this is the way it is.
It is what it is.
And I am really happy about Biden and Kamala with wanting to do the Voting Rights Act with John Lewis. Yeah. For me, I mean, on the heels of what a great man he was, and to really establish this because it's being torn asunder.
Yeah.
I'm behind that, just on the strength of that. That
needs to be the first thing that they do, because absolutely, after this election and how Donald Trump tried to mess with it, that is the first thing that they need to do. Totally. I think that when we get to November, what we're going to see is a Senate flip. We're going to see the Senate flip, because
it better flip.
Yeah, because a lot of these senators are now people aren't feeling what what they're selling now. And a lot of that has to do with the way that Trump responded to the COVID crisis.
And boy, am I excited to see who they put in as attorney general, because, and I want Kamala and Joe to be there to kick him physically out the dough. And I'm going to send in my shoes.
You're not a William Barr fan?
No, I think we should all send our shoes to the White House and say, get out. We're kicking you out. Get out.
That's another thing.
Throw them across the...
That's another thing. I really hope that they can do a split screen the day of the inauguration, because they typically move out the outgoing president and move in the incoming president during the inauguration.
Yeah.
They have a system of doing it. They have it timed down to the minute.
Hold on now, but 45 is going to contest. That's
why I say I hope that the day of the inauguration is Joe and Kamala, that they have a split screen so that we can see somebody having to drag Trump.
I know. Because homeboy ain't gonna be like leaving.
And you know what's even worse with that, Aisha? You know the person who's gonna be dragging him out?
Who?
The lady that's in the middle of our screen right now.
Lord have mercy. Because the other day when they tried to pull that old, like he was, somebody shot at Trump in the White House, and I was like, hey, nobody was checking for Trump. A dude was outside shooting down the block from the White House, and nobody checking for him.
We have a question.
Trying to make everything about him.
I've got a question from Galen Bingham, who is a Jill Jones fan. He's saying the U.S. has historically been the big brother of the world. How do you believe other countries are viewing the U.S. today?
Badly. Poorly.
Yeah. Weak.
Even though our president, even though the president keeps wanting to say, "Oh, we're so strong and powerful and tough, everything's tough."
If Americans could read in other languages, they would actually understand what's happening. It's pretty crazy. From Italy, France, Germany, hell, even in certain writers in Brazil and in the Latin American, people only seem to see what ends up on the mainstream, but even there are articles within it that they think it's a joke. You have to remember, people came here because they thought it was like the American dream at one point, and it still has that offering. It used to. What's happening now is like people are going to different countries because they are kind of the future. They're ushering in different technologies, the education system. France is always, I mean, it's really true. It's like our country is so bad at the moment. I was talking to another cousin of mine who now the going thing is to call Black women men, and I didn't know that my cousin went through this here, online. And she told me, when she was talking about her depression, it's horrific. You try to have a conversation with people online, and Black women are being called men just to, not that there's anything wrong if they were, but I do believe the trans community needs to help step up for women too on that respect, because we're all together in this. People are being killed because of men's homophobia. American men, I mean, really, really got to tell you, American men are really not really keepers. Some of them have some really sick ideas, and you see them online. It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. The homophobia is too much. And then to degrade Black women, and I can't take that. And I did have a bunch of Russians who jumped on some of my threads and were saying, Trump is great, he's fantastic. We have the most beautiful women in the world. Haven't you ever seen Russian women? I said, yeah, on many a pole in a strip club. I sure have. Not to slag all the Russian ones out.
TMI. That's a TMI right there, Jill Jones. That's a TMI.
I'm sorry, but there are many beautiful women of all races.
Yes.
And I particularly am seeing more targets of brown skinned women, and I don't really like it. And it's now just the rednecks just coming out the woodwork for real. This is how intense it is. But never forget that we got rid of one other. We've gotten rid of certain people in his cabinet when they can't take. We just need a few more to fly out. They can't take it. That's all. Those are indicators.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, final conversation piece. I didn't think we'd get there. So next week starts the Democratic Party's nomination, their big thing where they crowned Joe Biden as the convention. That's what I was looking for, the convention. Are you expecting anything of importance, or because it's an online event, it's not going to be anything important?
We need the Latinx. We need them to give more time to like a Julian Castro or to Ocasio Alexandra. We just need that because we can't displace people in the party, because this whole thing, our whole problem in America is about displacement, even who we are as a people. And we can't displace anybody in this fight, because even Asian Americans, the Latinos, the Hispanics, people feel disenfranchised, and we've got to have some unity. So to give these people 60 seconds to speak or not at all is a big, big problem for me.
Well, the other thing too is that they're trying to cram their time limit this year's a lot smaller. Usually the convention, when it was televised, they had like 3 or 4 hours. And you could watch it on C-SPAN and everything, because you could watch the different performers and all that stuff. Because they're doing this virtually, they squashed it down to 2 hours.
Okay.
So that's the big difference that with this convention that's going to be strange, because usually
because you're streaming it, and what happens is you're paying for the streams and each individual, and it can really rack up. I mean, I don't know if they should be thinking about money, but we should all donate to everybody we can running against him.
Yeah, and it's just really, it's going to be really different, because I enjoy watching the convention just because, you get to see different speakers, you get to see who's up and coming, and because, they had that block of time, because the convention runs all day when they go, Monday through Thursday, all day. So what you don't see on prime time, you can see on C-SPAN.
Right.
Because they have workshops and everything. So those will still go on. Like Julian Castro is going to be on a workshop panel. So that'll be on like C-SPAN, hopefully.
Okay.
But the primetime speakers, they probably could have, if they had a little bit more time, if they had like another hour, I think they really could have done a lot more with inclusion and letting people speak a little bit longer.
I agree.
But now they have to put in 2 hours worth of advertisements in that 2 hour span.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it should be an interesting convention. I think the person who's going to be most disappointed because of the wait. Good question again from Jill Jones' #1 fan, Galen. He's asking, what do you anticipate 45 to do as a last-ditch effort to win votes? Good question.
Go on, Aisha.
I'm trying to think. You already tried to have somebody assassinate him.
Yeah.
You didn't go there. You didn't go there, Aisha.
Girl, he did.
I mean, like, what else is there? I mean,
the nuclear buttons. I don't know. I hate to even toy with it. I don't know. Shapeshift into a reptile.
I think,
pull a Jesus, say he's the Messiah again.
I think it would be a great idea for both of
Give
you.
birth on stage. I don't know. Lay an egg.
You're terrible. You're terrible. I think it would be very interesting for both of you if you could come as the election night gets closer, is to put get it together a list of all the promises 45 made.
Oh,
All you gotta do is pull out the Republican campaign, the platform from their last RNC.
Now, wouldn't that be interesting if it was conveniently not available?
Yeah, we got to get on that. Pull that around. Galen, get on that. What does Galen think? What does he think he'll do? I mean, I don't know. Will he send FEMA around and start like locking us all up? I don't know. There's still many.
There's going to be another caravan.
Yeah, another caravan.
There's going to be another caravan, even though the borders are shut.
I know. Yeah.
It's interesting because a few weeks ago.
He's getting ready to release Snowden, guys. Edward Snowden.
So, big deal.
Yeah.
I don't think 45 is finished with his China bashing yet.
That's true. But is China finished with the stuff they haven't even started with us yet?
Oh, so one thing that Galen mentioned, he says more tax breaks.
He can't do that. Because Congress is the thing. The Congress has to approve them. It has to pass through the House first, and the House isn't going to do that.
I honestly didn't feel the tax break. Did you?
No, because
it
went to people who have over a certain amount of income.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't feel nothing.
Okay. Now, just an FYI on that.
In fact, I owed money.
What is very interesting is part of the Democratic proposal to give more money for people during this time is a tax break for people who make over $100,000, which is not getting a lot in the news. And the thing is that a lot of the money that 45 gave out to certain people now they're going to get again. So I think that the tax break thing,
what he wants to do is cut the payroll tax.
Yes.
Right.
And the payroll tax is it's the money that you pay into Medicare and into Social Security and all of that. And the thing of it is that he wants to cut it, but temporarily cut it. So it means that you'll cut it. You'll get that money in your check, and you won't pay it into Social Security or Medicare. But it means that your Social Security and your Medicare will be short when you need it, when it comes time to get it.
Right.
But you'll still have to pay those taxes when the tax time comes.
Yes.
You'll end up owing taxes.
Right.
Instead of getting a refund.
Right. And I don't think it's even that much. That check still doesn't look good cutting out those things. I'm sorry.
All it does with the payroll tax credit, especially a temporary one, all it does is delay the time that you have to pay the tax. You have to pay it in one lump sum during tax time.
And Dr. Vibe, everybody knows if you don't take out enough withholding as it is, you owe money. So the reality is, don't go down that road. That's not even like a really responsible or a great way. This is a dude who's had money printed for all of his friends, and he's going to make us sit up here.
It's setting up working class people for more debt.
Absolutely. Big debt. And, they did nothing about those payday loan people, those vipers coming after people. That's one reason. I mean, people's credit ruined. It's like they should be outraged because you're looking at things that are going to be on people's credit reports for 12 years, things like that. And then if they go into bankruptcy, but now you can't even do the other bankruptcy. So it's like you're really kind of stuck. It's not worth it. He needs to do better. This is not a person who even understands how it works. Although he understands bankruptcy, real estate bankruptcy is incredibly different. And he walked away with millions from his bankruptcies. And that too, I just think that it's important to have Joe and Kamala in office so that even after he's gone, they can get together and start doing some investigating because we're looking at a lot of crimes.
Okay, so
very wicked crimes.
Here's a good question. If the Democrats win, should they go after 45?
Yes.
Yes.
I feel yes. And they should go after everybody.
The reason being because Biden and Kamala won't be able to govern properly without knowing all he did.
Right.
It's a good point.
And without knowing all he covered up, without knowing all that he messed up, because everything that he did in this last 3.5 years has ramifications for years to come. They've got to go back and undo everything that he did and reset the path. So unless they know everything, and some of these things are going to be sealed and without, they're going to need subpoenas and all that. So unless they pursue it, they're not going to know the full gravity of everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's had many
Because
meetings
he's hiding
with Putin.
stuff.
Yeah, he's had meetings with Putin where they've been private. There's no record. There's nothing. And this is for the main reason that she's speaking on. It is important. It's like, what corporation would ever run like that?
Right.
A corrupt one is what would do it.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, we got through it with an added conversation topic. You're on fire as usual. Like to say thank you for taking time out of the heat on both sides, on both coasts.
All of us.
Yes, on both coasts and north of the border to make this happen. Thank you as always. One last question. On a scale of 1 to 10, if the election was held tomorrow, how confident do you feel the Democrats would win the U.S. president's election if it was held tomorrow?
Landslide.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
10. It'd be a landslide.
Yeah, I'm very confident.
Yeah.
Because I am driving people to polls if they need rides. I am, and I challenge all my fans and friends and peers to do the same.
Yeah.
Get out there, try to early vote as much as you can. But people who need rides or they have to get back and forth, make yourself available because I'm doing it. I just, there's no way.
So interesting. Galen Bingham says 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If it was held tomorrow, this is interesting. So what we're going to do is every time we're on, we're going to close to that question.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's mostly the reason I say 10 out of 10 is because I think right now, if it were held tomorrow, a lot of people are so on this, it's like the perfect ticket for us right now for Dems.
Right.
So people are motivated. I mean, look at the amount of money they raised in the they raised literally $1 million an hour in 48 hours.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay, there you go. Chris Langford, 10. So we're going to make sure we do this poll after every conversation from now till election day to get the pulse of the community on where they're going. So I think that.
How are you going to hate on somebody who's playing Curtis Mayfield?
Exactly. Exactly.
He's got the jams. I really think we all need to do playlists. We need to really get pumped up.
Okay.
That's how you psych these mothers out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies, as always.
Look, Donald Trump can't get a theme song because everybody he plays comes back and says, do not use my music.
I know, but we're going to turn this mother out.
Yes.
Turn this mother out.
Yep.
At this rate, Jill, the family here will want you to do a live concert that night. So get ready. And just to tell people, we are starting to get in the planning session to have a special evening of coverage the night of the election.
Yeah.
So I know you'll want to be near your television set, but also another screen you will have to have on that night is the screen you're looking at right now with all three of us, and we may even get some other people hopefully to jump in and join us during that evening. So definitely we're looking to have make it a event that evening, whatever way it turns out.
I know.
Don't worry, folks. We will not have Van Jones on. I'll leave that out. So
and that's really sad. I was friends with Van.
That's another conversation. We've had that offline, folks. You're not going to get access to that conversation.
Right.
It's Dr. So, Jill, if people want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
You can find me on Twitter at Jill D. Jones, or you can find me on my Facebook page, which is Jill Jones Music. And the same on Instagram, Jill Jones Music. So,
Wonderful. And Aisha?
Find me on Twitter at Aisha Staggers, capital AISHA, capital STAGGERS.
All right. And last comments here. Galen says, I was on the Dr. Vibe show when 45 won. Yes, I think I had coverage that night. I think it did. And
wow.
Chris Langford says, terrific convo, everyone. Thank you. Heart, 3 hearts. Thank
you,
Chris.
Chris.
Yes. Well,
thanks, Galen.
Yeah, do not be strangers. Like to say thank you to Chris, to Galen, to Tricky Davis. I like the way you spell it. TRIQI, Tricky Davis. Marina, Ottawa, Cynthia Nance, everyone else who watched this live on the replay or listen to it live on the replay. Thank you so much. Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. You can catch me all on various different platforms, including once a month. I host a live and co-produce a live conversation this way with about fathers that is co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization, and Dove Men Care. If you want to find out about me, the best place to do is go to my website, thedrvibeshow.com. Like to say a big thanks to BIA Media for the outstanding production. Thank you so much. And always I close out, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. And as I said at the front end of the conversation, we're working on it, but definitely by September, you will be able to see Aisha and Jill on a set day of the week, set time of the week. So make sure your calendars are ready for that. We will announce that as we get closer to the month of September. God bless, peace be well, keep the faith, and walk good.